Sophie and welcome back to my channel. Yes, it is 10:49 on Tuesday evening because making these vlogs consistently is just not something I'm very good at, but I really wanted to start the vlog today because I feel like if I leave it another day, oh, I'm kicking things now, I'm just gonna keep delaying it. So hello, this week I'm still reading A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett St. Clair, which is the final book in the Hades and Persephone saga. I'm about 50% of the way through and thoroughly enjoying it. I am still technically listening to the audiobook of The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, but I haven't listened to it for a while, if I'm honest. I did pick up a physical version of that book in a charity shop for £2 last weekend though, so very, very pleased with that. So I might just kind of binge read the end of that at some point. Not sure when, because I have a lot of reading to catch up on, but that's what we're currently reading. Feel like I should say some more, but I think I just needed to start this vlog. I'm already a couple of days late. It's late, I'm tired, my battery light's flashing. I'll start vlogging properly tomorrow. I don't know if this is my best angle, but it's been a few days, so I figure I should probably do some sort of update. It is Friday now, and I've really been struggling with the days of the week this week because it is the second week of the school Easter holidays, and normally I'm not affected by the school Easter holidays at all. I generally don't know when they are, or any kind of school holidays, because, you know, I don't have kids and I'm not in any kind of education, so they don't bother me. But because of my ballet classes, they run on school term times, so I've not had ballet this week, and that's the only way I've known it's the Easter holidays. But it's also the way that I generally know what day it is, and I've not had ballet, so I have absolutely no idea what day it is half the time. But today is Friday. Yesterday I finished A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett St. Clair. My battery light's flashing, but we're going to see how far we can get anyway. I finished A Touch of Chaos. I read this 600-page Goliath in 7 whole days, and that's a real testament to how much I enjoyed it. Tentatively, it's my first 5-star read of the year. I really didn't think it would be 5 stars, and I'm still kind of in two minds about it, because part of me enjoyed Revolution by Jennifer Donnelly more than I enjoyed this, but that book was 4 stars. It would, if I did half and quarter ratings, it would be 4.75 for sure. I just didn't like the ending. But with this, the more I think about it, I'm like, well, what is there that I didn't like? The relationship aspect was a bit more calmed down, so I liked Hades and Persephone more. There was so much more plot and actual like substance to get emotionally invested in. There was so many twists and turns, there was so many shocks, and I genuinely enjoyed it. I devoured the whole thing, 600 pages in 7 days, which is really fast for me. So it's kind of like 5 stars by default. It kind of doesn't give me 5-star vibes, probably mostly because of how I didn't enjoy the Hades trilogy as much as I enjoyed the Persephone trilogy. But because this is technically dual perspective, but more than that, there's more than just the 2 perspectives, I think it's more similar to the Persephone side. I think the thing with this series is that the Hades trilogy is a bonus. You could count this as book 4 in the Persephone series rather than the book 7 of the whole thing, and you would probably be fine. I think arguably there'd be more of a shock factor, because I think the Hades trilogy explores more of the build up towards the plot side of things. Yeah, a really unexpected technical 5-star. I'm still not quite sure about it. I don't think it's going to be my highest rated book of the year, but for now it is my first 5-star read of the year, and I do still love these sprayed edges. I did do quite a lot of tabbing, and when I was going through it to update my book journal, there was quite a lot of quotes that either made me laugh or made my heart just like swell a little bit. It was really sweet, and well, it was sweet but also very dramatic. I love Greek gods and I love political fantasy. I hate politics in real life, but fantasy politics, gimme, gimme, gimme. Finished that last night. Also made a start on my next read, which is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I have 2 physical copies and I have a copy. Well, I say I have a copy on my Kindle. I was trying to read, I woke up at 6:30 this morning, randomly, which is way earlier than I normally wake up, and I didn't want to wake up my husband. And I was like, okay, well if I read on my Kindle, I don't need to turn all the lights on or anything. So I looked at the Kindle app on my phone and I was like, okay, I definitely have The Hobbit here. I can start reading it. But then when I tried to download it on my Kindle, it wouldn't or couldn't download it. So I've not figured that one out. So I read a chapter on my phone and then I fell back asleep anyway. I have this edition, which I believe came from my nan's collection. This is one that was published in the 70s. And I'm reluctant to physically read this edition because it was hers and I want to keep it nice. But then this is one of those books that we have 2 copies because it was also in our wedding library, so we received a copy as a wedding gift. So I'm physically reading that one because I'm not scared of breaking the spine on that one. This one I want to keep nice because it was one of my nan's things. I presume I have no other reason to think to have a copy of The Hobbit from the 1970s, but so far I'm really liking the writing style. I'm listening to the audiobook on BookBeat and they've got the version read by Andy Serkis, who was obviously in all of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits films, and he's a very good audiobook narrator, so I am enjoying that experience so far. And the narrative style is much more digestible than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be really literary and artsy because I think Tolkien was quite a pretentious author, and I mean that in a nice way. I don't mean pretentious as in up himself. I mean I assumed he had a very poetic and academic writing style because he was such an academic man, but no. I think it is a children's book is the bit that I think went over my head a little bit. So it is very digestible. There are parts that are funny, especially with Andy Serkis narrating them. So I've only read 2 chapters so far. I did the maths when I was writing my April TBR blog post, and to finish all of my TBR this month I need to finish a book every 3 days. So I think today is technically day 1 of reading The Hobbit. I might print out a calendar. Yeah, so I either need to finish The Hobbit tomorrow or the day after. I'm not sure how fast I'll be able to listen to it because I'm listening on 1.5 speed, but Andy Serkis is a very dynamic narrator, so there's some bits that he reads really, really quickly, but there's some bits he reads emphatically really slowly, and it makes for really good storytelling, but it makes it a bit difficult to figure out what speed I want to listen to it at. I feel like I should listen to it at 1x speed, but that just doesn't match my natural reading speed. It's only 10 hours of audiobook total. It's not a super long book, so hopefully I'll be able to get through it in just a couple of days. And then, you know, I've planned my TBR to be a bit shorter this month, not in terms of how many books there are, because there are 9 books on my TBR this month, which is ridiculous. I've chosen shorter books, so I chose this month's book club pick to be one of the shorter ones because I just feel like I want to get a head start. If I can actually get through all of my TBR books this month, my TBR for next month is looking like it will actually be a lot shorter. So I feel like if I can get through all of this TBR, I'll be less on the back foot. I've already got loads of books I need to catch up on. Less on the back foot is what we're aiming for. After The Hobbit, I'm going to be reading the next Famous 5 book in the series, and I think this is 200 odd pages, but again, it's a children's book, so it reads very fast paced, and I think the audiobook's only 4 or 5 hours long. So this one, hopefully I'll be able to read quite quickly. Yeah, I've got lots of short books, and then my new releases, I have no idea how long they are. The Reappearance of Rachel Price is the physically biggest one, but I think this is 400 and something, 430 pages, so it's not outrageous, and this is a YA mystery thriller, so it should be quite fast paced, but we'll see. I'm getting better at making more time for reading during the day. I finished reading A Touch of Chaos yesterday afternoon, which meant I could then start reading The Hobbit last night. That's my update. I finished A Touch of Chaos. Ideally I'll finish The Hobbit by the end of the week, but realistically probably not. But yeah, I think I'm feeling a bit rejuvenated in reading. I think reading A Touch of Retribution taking 3 weeks last month was kind of, I'm calling it an active slump because I was still reading, because I have a reading streak on Storygraph that I'm not prepared to sacrifice, but I was reading really slowly. And since finishing that and then finishing A Game of Gods and now finishing A Touch of Chaos, I'm like, right, I'm back on my mojo. I'm out of the slump, back into reading properly. But I'm really trying to make sure that I'm enjoying reading for the sake of reading and not for the sake of numbers. But I am a numbers orientated person, so even if I was doing it for that, as long as I was still enjoying the books, I suppose that's fine. I've been talking for too long, so there's the update. I'll try and remember to vlog something more exciting, but we're having a homey day today. We went for a walk earlier, nearly got blown away. It's been really blustery today. That's the most boring thing I've ever said in my life. Okay, yeah, I don't think we have anything more exciting planned, but that'll do. Faithful spot. I clearly haven't made an effort with my appearance today. God knows what this is. Today is Sunday. I've remembered to vlog on a Sunday. Remembered isn't the right word. It's just that I've not had a lot of energy this week. I think I had a lovely time in Canterbury with Lucas at the weekend, but I think I maybe pushed myself a little bit too hard and I've spent most of this week recovering. I had so many intentions of going to the gym at different points throughout this week, and I just haven't had the energy, and I said, you know what, let's call this a rest week and we can get back to it next week, and that's fine. Reading wise, I've actually had a very good week. I've just done some posts to I do a weekly wrap up on TikTok where I go through how many pages or how much I read each day throughout the week, and the number of pages I read this week is exactly the same as the number of pages I read last week, which is a little bit creepy, but considering last week we spent 4 days in Canterbury and on my part I just did a lot of reading, a lot of mooching, a lot of not a lot. And this week has been a more normal week. The fact that I've maintained that reading level is impressive for me. I think I've mentioned that I finished reading A Touch of Chaos. I started reading The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, narrated by Andy Serkis, and I think that this is arguably one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to. Andy Serkis gives it a full performance. I just think he's brilliant. I think it's absolutely wonderful, and I've looked it up and he's also done all the narration for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I've never read the Lord of the Rings, but now that I'm halfway through The Hobbit, or nearly halfway through The Hobbit, I want to read Lord of the Rings, so that's just another one for my TBR, isn't it? I think I mentioned earlier this week that when I was writing my blog post with my April TBR, I did some very vague maths, and I figured out that if I want to read every book on my TBR, I need to be finishing a book every 3 days. And with those statistics, I should have finished The Hobbit yesterday, and I did not, because reading 90 pages for 3 days consecutively just wasn't my bag. And I've just come to the conclusion, you know what, I'm already doing way better than last month. I'm feeling a lot better about reading than I was last month, and I'm just gonna read at my own pace and enjoy what I'm reading. And what I get through what I get through, and I don't get through what I don't get through. I feel like I'm really enjoying reading it again, and I don't know if it's because I'm out of the slump that A Game of Retribution put me in. It wasn't a slump so much as it just took me so long to finish that book, and now I feel like I'm kind of back up to speed with reading at my normal pace. Or if it's something to do with finally being on the right medication for my mental health and feeling better just generally within myself. I think that's a significant component. But either way, I've had a somewhat productive morning. Lucas has gone off playing airsoft with a couple of his friends again today, so he left at 6:30 this morning, and normally I would just not wake up with him. I would let him go and then stay in bed and make the most of having the whole bed to myself for a couple more hours. But for one, I wanted to get up because I wanted to use the time. And for two, he's not very good at getting up with his alarms, but his alarms are really good at waking me up. And when I know he needs to leave, it stresses me out because I get worried that he's not going to leave on time. Ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous, but either way, I was kind of awake at 6:30 and I was like, you know what, I'm going to roll with this. I did then stay in bed for 2 hours. I got to spend 2 hours chilling in bed, and that was actually, it was a choice I made, and I very much enjoyed making that choice. A very chilled morning, read some of my bookseller magazine, did some chores, already made and posted today's TikTok. I've also set myself the goal of posting on TikTok every single day this month. I had a really good run at the beginning of the year, and then I fell off it a bit in March, but I'm back. I've decided I'm back in April. Next step in kind of getting back on it is catching up on these weekly vlogs, because I'm filming week 14 and currently I've got week 12 and week 13 still to go up. I'm going to sit and edit this video. This is from the week before we went to Canterbury, which was, if I remember rightly, a very quiet week, and I don't think I even filmed an outro, so this will either take me an hour or 20 minutes. We'll see. I really was actually going to end this vlog yesterday, but I'm aware that the last clip I filmed was sat at my desk just chatting, so I didn't want to do the same thing again. I don't know, in my head I was trying not to be repetitive, but then what happened is I just kept putting off filming the ending of this video, and then it got dark outside and I went to bed, and yeah, shock horror, I'm ending the vlog on a Monday. I'm aware I didn't film a ton this week. It's probably been a very quiet one. Anyway, reading wise, I didn't read or listen to any of The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the ongoing audiobook that may never end. I may just never finish this audiobook. But in terms of physical reads, I started the week reading A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett St. Clair, and I finished it on, I want to say, Thursday, and I rated it 5 stars. I have sat with that rating since, and I don't think I want to change it, but also it still doesn't quite feel right, so can't explain it. But this is the one book I finished this week, and then I am currently reading The Hobbit. I do have a physical edition to hand somewhere. I'm currently reading The Hobbit. I have about 80 pages left, so I'm hoping I'll finish that in the next couple of days, but no pressure. We're just gonna do what we can. This book was £1.50 when it was can you see? £1.50. Wow, how things change. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're enjoying whatever you're reading. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you at some point with another bookish video soon. Bye!